We are live. We are live. Welcome to Kimmies World. Y'all, I decided to go live right here. My dad, old people, honey, wherever they sit, that's where you better start talking to them because he don't want to go, he don't want to get up and go in the downstairs area to the YouTube room. So, Daddy, tell everybody, hey.
Hey, everybody.
Everybody's been asking about you.
What they've been asking about me?
I don't know. We're going to wait till some people come on. Kaden, ma'am, can you go in there and get my cell phone? Sure. Thank you.
Hey, y'all.
So, welcome to Kimmy's World. We are going to go ahead and do our chat now. I know this is not the typical setup, but listen.
What is?
The phone is in there on the charger where that lamp is, next to the bed. But y'all know what old people, you got to get them where they are. And
Who's old?
Huh?
Who's old?
You?
In your own mind.
Well, I asked you to go to the downstairs area. You didn't want y'all. He comfortable, so let him stay comfortable. Let me see. Thank you. Move back. So, Daddy, you heard about Carly Russell?
I heard a little bit about her.
I can't believe all they did was gave her $18,000 restitution. Don't you think the city of Hoover spent more than that?
Well, it's not a matter of what I think. It's a matter of
what you know, too.
And they did what they thought was right at the time. Now, I think, and I'm pretty sure that the city of Hoover suspects the same thing, that she has some psychological issues. Otherwise, why would you pull a silly, stupid stunt like that?
I don't think they really care whether or not she have a psychological problem. They don't. When it comes to the law, because at first they was trying to say that she wasn't. No, that's another case. Or was it hers? She's mentally competent, so it's.
Well, you can still be mentally competent and still have some psychological issue. She can function on a high level, competent, but that don't mean that she don't have some side psychological issue.
I think it has something to do with the way she was raised, because there was a guy, a YouTuber, his name is JR Speaks, so y'all make sure y'all go follow him. But he was actually there in Birmingham for the trial, and he was like kind of like heckling them, asking them why did they lie, and her mother walked up to him and grabbed his phone. So that tells you a lot about her family, because so the father didn't behave like that. He's a vice president over a bank. He didn't behave that way, but the mama did, and she was the one that was talking all throughout the interviews and everything. So, hey, Fanny, how you doing?
Well, your raising has a lot to do with your behavior. Most likely, the father was not there during the critical time because he was working. And if he was climbing the corporate ladder, certainly he was not there. The mother did most of the raising. And you can't do that if you're going to raise children. The father has to have a major role in the raising of the children, and there must be discipline. Children that's raised without discipline are free to do whatever they want to do, and they will do that.
I think she just spoiled. I really think they spoiled her. And then I saw something else with the boyfriend. He did an interview, and he said that, remember the rumor that was going around about something about he cheated on her with a stripper or whatever. And he said, I heard the interview. He said she lied. And he said they were still dating, and he didn't understand why she did that. And still to this day, he still couldn't put his finger on why she did it.
That's evident of what I said earlier is true. She got some psychological issues.
I don't think it's psychological. I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Problems.
I think she
no question about it.
I think she's spoiled. That's
Nobody in their sane mind would pull a stunt like this. You've got to have some psychological problems. Now, I don't know the source of it. The source of her psychological problem might be her training, home training, being spoiled somewhat. But all spoiled children don't act that way.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with that. Hmm.
All children don't act that way.
I agree with that. Have you heard about the current event with Tupac?
What about Tupac?
You know, they're arresting people now for the MURDER of him. And that was
Wow.
over what, 26, 27 years ago?
Well,
Because people are talking now.
you know, the scriptures teach, Galatians 6 and 7, be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that also shall he reap. You sow some bad seeds, it's coming back. You go if you plant corn seed, that's what you're gonna get, corn. If you plant some bad seeds on someone else, whether it's Tupac or whoever, it's coming back. You can't expect to get away with it. They didn't expect to get away with it. They told on themselves.
Mm.
God has so fixed it so that somebody else don't know about it. You will tell on yourself. And not even aware that you're talking on and telling on yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Well, so what do you think is going on with our president? As far as him, you think he got Alzheimer's or dementia?
No, I don't think he has Alzheimer's. I do not think he has dementia. At his age, he just slowed down a little bit.
Well, why did he
He got a lot of things on his plate.
Well, whether he got a lot of things on his plate or not, I'm just asking. But he was giving that he was addressing the international, I don't know exactly what it was, but he said in mid-speech, he wanted to go take a nap.
Well, if he wanted to go take a nap,
In mid-speech?
doesn't make any difference. I mean, he's the president of the United States and really the leader of the free world. And so if he feels like taking a nap, as much as he do, you don't know what he went through the night before. And even that day. A lot of people complain, but you don't know what he went through. And if he's tired, then I say go take a nap. If I feel sleepy, if I want to take a nap, I'm going to take a nap.
So
my age now, I'm not going to worry about what other folks say.
So if you were preaching and you're preaching up on the pulpit and you talking about a specific subject and the next word coming out your mouth is, I want to go take a nap.
If I felt like taking a nap, I'd go take one.
He would say that? So is that a part of getting old where you just lose like
you hadn't lost anything. You put your priorities in order. The older you get, the more you put priorities in order. His rest was more important than that speech because getting the proper rest will enable him to make a lot more speeches. But if he don't get the proper rest, then he's subject to open himself up to a stroke or something else.
I disagree with you on that one because
that's all right. That's your prerogative. We live in America.
So, Mama, Daddy will actually say that mid-speech. You think? Like if he was preaching,
they would have no problem with this. He's just tired.
Come on now.
If I get tired, I mean, I will do that. I'd rather do that than stand up there and make a butt out of myself.
Oh my goodness. Oh. So do you think just becoming old, like you just say whatever? And I guess that has, you know how they say the older you get, you lose your, you know how little children will say anything? I don't know what you call that. What do you call that? Where they just blurt out like outbursts and they say the older you get, like that happens.
Well, the older you get, you put your priorities in order. And his priorities was his health. What good is he to America if he cannot function, if he's too tired to function? He's the president of this country.
Yeah.
And it's not the world countries or that's important right now. It's America. That's where he has been elected to serve.
So, okay. So if that is true, he said something else. I can't remember exactly what he said, but whatever he said, they cut his microphone off and they closed out what he said. Like he couldn't say no more after then.
He didn't want to say no more. He may have forgotten the script.
Someone said, I guess your dad says.
Sometimes when you get older, your eyes fail you. The teleprompter. He might not have been able to see the teleprompter. My eyes fail me sometimes. I can look at things and read stuff after a while, and after a while it becomes blurry. When it comes blurry, if I don't remember it, I got to take my eyes off of that for a while. Come back to it later. That's just a process of getting older.
Yeah.
So I really, in reality, I think the president's doing a pretty good job. He's managing all these crises that we're having. And the reason why that we still here as a country is because people like him.
Well, do you think he really has a hand in it, or he's just a puppet?
Well,
in the
he
mass scheme of
has a
things.
hand in it, but he is not the only one. You know, we live in a country where there's 3 branches of government, and he only serves in one branch. Then you got your Congress and Senate, and then you got your Supreme Court. Now, the problem in our government is in Congress and Senate. They're the ones who's screwing up. They're the ones who's fighting. The president's not fighting nobody. He's going about doing his duty as a president. He cannot institute any laws, really, unless Congress and Senate ratify it. They come up with the laws and ratify it, and then the president can go ahead and sign off on it. But he cannot sign off on it, just like the problem we're having with the budget. That's not his fault.
No, it's not directly. Actually, it's all the other presidents' faults too.
No, it's not all.
Or you don't think so?
It doesn't matter where he's Republican president
Well, I
or
mean,
Democrat president. He does not ratify that budget. It has to be done through Congress and Senate. And once it's done there, they do their part, then he then either accept or reject. Now, if Congress ratifies and Senate doesn't, and the president go ahead with Congress, then the bill passes. But if not, it's not going to pass. So it's the thing. You got all these people in Washington, and they're sent there to do the country's business. And all they do up there is fuss and fight and talk about the other party. Something is wrong with this problem. You know what the problem is? Money. They're getting too much money under the table. Now, they don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about issues like this. But you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be college educated to understand that people don't spend millions of dollars to get an office that pays $200,000 or $300 or $300,000 a year.
That's true.
When you run for that office, you've already figured out in your mind how you're going to steal the money. Don't believe what I'm talking about? Look at the one in New York right now that's already been indicted for fleecing the public.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Republican congressman.
Who?
The young guy that went in, and when he went in office, then he Gates, is it Gates or something like that?
New York.
Yeah,
Mama, you snoring.
And the problem is, he was stealing before he ever went in there. He forged checks. He took money from other folks that he wasn't supposed to take. He lied about
Santos?
Huh?
Are you talking about Santos?
Yes.
That's his name. George Santos.
That's it.
Wow.
Only thing is, he got caught a lot quicker than the rest of them. The Democratic senator that got caught not long ago, his wife was taking bribes, getting new cars and all this from
Who was that?
other people. I don't remember his name, but he was a Democrat.
That was an older guy, wasn't he?
Yes.
I remember that. I can't
And it
remember his
doesn't matter
name.
what, it's Democrats or
It really
Republicans.
doesn't.
They are not doing the business of the country. That's the problem. And the president takes the blame. Now, true enough, we've had some good presidents and we've had some bad presidents. They've been bad on both sides. They've been
they
bad Democrat presidents. They've been bad Republican presidents. But Biden happened to be, I believe, he's an honest man. They try to tie him in with what his son is doing.
Right,
But
right.
that's like trying to tie me in to what my sons do.
That's true.
I don't agree with what my sons do.
Wow.
I love my children. I love them
Wow.
very much. But they do a lot of things I don't agree with.
Do you think they just trying to stall out, like trying to cause all these problems for Biden because of what Trump is doing and trying to take the focus off Trump and put it on Biden?
It's not. They don't care anything about Biden. What they're doing is creating a problem over here to take your mind off of what they're really doing.
What do you think is really going on? Because when they do stuff, it's sort of like it is a diversion, taking your mind off of what's really going on. What do you think is really going on? Because they're fighting over in oh shoot, is it Ukraine?
Yeah, they're fighting.
It's a war going on right now.
Well, in Israel, Hezbollah bombed Israel this past weekend. They killed Hezbollah. They did this to Israel. And Israel now is fighting back. Israel has a right to fight back. I would fight back too if somebody come over and kill 1,000 of my people, innocent people.
Why is it that they always fighting over there?
Because people are wanting power, and Hezbollah is not the one they're the one who's carried out the act, but there's somebody else behind it. And most people believe that it's Iran behind all this.
What are they looking for? Oil, money,
power, prestige. They want to be the world's leader.
That's true. Okay. Yep. You're exactly right. I agree with that.
It's not always about money. Look what happened in Congress. They just got rid of the Speaker of the House.
They did?
Yes, they got rid of him last week.
For what?
Well, they got rid of him because he passed, he put forth a bill on the budget. And it was not a full bill. It was only a partial bill, a stopgap bill to keep the government open.
Open, right.
And the guy from Florida put in a motion to take him out as the Speaker of the House, and it passed. And they said they couldn't trust him. They trust him enough to put him in there.
Who is that? Who said
this
that?
is what the Republicans said, and the Democrats said it.
Really?
That's right. The Democrats teamed up with the Republicans to take him out of office.
Wow, I did not know that.
Keep up with the news.
I don't. Well, that's what I got you for. Because I know
No,
you always reading.
for that purpose.
That's all you always reading.
You have to keep up with what's going on if you want to be informed.
Wow. So doesn't the Bible speak about wars like that over there? Always fighting. Mama, you snoring.
Well, wars doesn't create themselves. Wars come about because of evil people. Evil people become evil because they are under the influence of the evil one, which is what I believe to be Satan. And Satan has the ability to appeal to the weaker part of man. All men are tempted in three ways: lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, and the pride of life. The pride of life deals with people having this desire to be great, wanting to be in charge, wanting to be the president, wanting to be over other countries, want to take your power because I believe that I need all the power. So that's why you have a lot of wars. That's why you have the fighting.
Deal with the other two.
The lust of the flesh has to do with the fleshly desires. It doesn't matter whether it's desire for food. That's a natural desire. But it's not natural to overeat.
So would you say fat people like myself have a problem with lust of the, or what did you say, lust of the flesh?
Lust of the flesh. You have a problem with your diet, with eating. We don't want to do without the right food or do without food.
Mm-hmm.
We like our comfort food.
See,
we don't want to do the exercise.
Yeah.
We are a whole nation is fat. So the whole
That's true.
nation, I know I'm making a lot of people mad, but
Go
I don't care
on
if
and
I'm making
talk.
them mad or not.
I mean, you telling the truth, Daddy.
You know, the whole nation refuses to do the exercise that man was created to do. God created this machine that we have, we call a body, and this body has to be exercised. It's like a car. If a car sets up and you don't drive it, you're going to have problems out of it. The body is designed to be active.
So now we're talking about the body. You know, the body was created to be self-healing, right?
Partially.
Your body, like with cancer is like your body recognizes that it's foreign, and that's why like your body goes to attack that cancer cell, and it just, that cancer cell is so shrewd that it mimics a real cell, but it's not, and it just continues to reproduce, and then by then it's too late. The body can't fight it off. Why is that? Is it because cancer may be man-made?
Well, I don't know where it's man-made or not, but I know man brings it about because of our diet.
The foods we eat, because United States,
You
like,
are what you
that's
eat.
true.
We don't want
Or
to
maybe-
give up. We don't want to give up these, as I pointed out, these comfort foods. We like it, and now the food is not pure as it once
No,
was.
it wasn't. No, it isn't.
You
There's a
have
lot of
all
chemicals
these,
in it.
you have all this extra stuff they put in to make it grow off fast, and that's just not normal.
Because you remember back in the day when McDonald's food don't taste the same as when, like in the 80s. McDonald's food used to be good, but now it's probably not even, what is soybean? It's some type of fake food, because you can have McDonald's food sitting out for 24 hours and it still looks the same. But it's hard. And regular food don't do that.
Well, even if it was real meat is not like it used to be. And the reason why real meat is not the reason why it used to be, people put a lot of steroids in the animal's food to make them get fat quick. A chicken, right now, a chicken thigh as big as a whole chicken used to be. That tells me.
Really?
That's right.
Chickens want
No,
that?
chickens weren't that
Wow.
big. Oh.
So when your parents, like, who killed the chicken in your house? Your mama?
No,
Your
the
mama?
kids, most of the time, the
Oh,
kids
my
kill the
Lord.
chicken.
So when y'all would do that to a chicken, how big would it, like, how many would you have to unalive?
How many do I have to what?
I have to say that, Daddy.
How many would have to what?
How many would you have to unalive? I can't say the other word. They'll strike my channel. I can't
Well,
say that.
The end of lives for a family of like it was with us, there was 3 or 4 chickens killed.
Unalive, say that one. Say
Well,
unalive.
Well, whatever you want to say, that
Just
word.
say that.
But those chickens were destroyed in order to feed the family. And
It was 3
to 4 chickens
a meal?
per meal for the family our size.
You have chicken every day?
No, we didn't have chicken every day. You had chicken usually on Sunday.
So you wouldn't eat meat throughout the week?
Yeah, we ate meat throughout the week. But
Like what kind of meat did you eat?
We eat pork, we eat rabbit.
Oh my word.
You eat
that's a lot of rabbit to feed a whole family. Y'all had a family, what, 14 or?
Well,
it's a lot of rabbit.
Rabbit hunting, you killed enough rabbits to feed.
I'm alive, Daddy. You can't say that. We're gonna talk about something else now.
Okay. You asked me now. I'm just telling you what I see. In order to eat, that rabbit had to give up himself. He didn't volunteer to do it. It was taken from him.
Excuse me, just a minute. This is Kate and Papa. Hey, how you doing? I'm good. You coming to the game tonight? Okay. Oh, okay then. Okay then. Oh, that's all right. I said that's all right. Caitlin will be all right. I will. Okay. Okay. No, he not asleep. Hold on a minute. Kaden, you want to talk to your papa? Papa Amp. Come talk. Come get the phone. No, come get the phone, Kaden. He on his tablet. I'll have him call you in the morning when he don't have his tablet. All right, I will. He said he'll talk to you. Hold on. Here, come grab the phone, boy. Sorry about that. Here, go on in there and talk. Go in there and talk. Someone said chicken legs look like turkey legs now. And turkey legs are big. I never thought about that.
And that's because chickens eat steroids. If you saw what chickens wind up eating, you wouldn't want no more chicken.
All right, I don't want to talk about that because it made me not want to eat chicken anymore. Mama, you snoring. Mama.
Okay.
Mama, you on live snoring. You gonna hear yourself later. You might not want to do that. You gonna say something else? Cause you want to say something. Go ahead. You
I
can.
don't know what you
No.
talking about.
No, you go ahead, Daddy. This your show.
You're talking about the food that people ate. Want to know what did we eat? We ate meat, just like everybody else, but we raised our own meat. And so there was no steroids given the meat. The meat was what they ate was grass, hay, and before the animal was prepared for the food, he was put up in a stall and he was fed corn to clean the animal out to make sure he was clean.
He was. So y'all raised them. That's
Sure.
what you're saying. Y'all raised him. Y'all fed him corn.
Everybody did.
And y'all put him
Wasn't
in
just
the
us.
stall to make him bigger instead of.
No,
but
not
it
make
took
him bigger.
what?
Put it in the stall to make sure that he was cleaned out. All this waste.
Oh, that's what corn
fat.
does.
Yeah. All the fat was cleaned out of him. He wasn't
Oh.
real fat. It was lean meat. Now
Oh.
you get a
Chicken's not lean.
piece of meat and it's all fat and no
Yeah.
lean.
I don't know that.
Yeah, people go to the grocery store today. They just
Y'all
want
didn't
some
go to
meat.
the grocery store, did you?
They went occasionally, but not often.
So what?
People raise their own food.
So what did the grocery store look like in the 50s and 60s? What did it look like?
Well,
Or how often would you go?
most people went once a month.
And what would they buy?
They would buy the things that they couldn't raise, like sugar, coffee, tea. They raised their milk.
That's all you would get from the grocery store?
That's right. Stuff like that.
Wow.
They raised their milk. They raised their meat. They raised their bread.
What about butter? They made their own butter?
They made their butter from the milk. You milk the cow, you churn the milk and make the butter.
You know what? I just saw something on on TikTok the other day where this guy was making butter and he used heavy whipping cream and he put it in a KitchenAid mixer and he just kept blending it, and then the milk, I guess it cured, and the cure part of it was in the little mixer blender thing, and he pulled it out and he had water with ice in it and he dipped it in that and it made it hard.
Well, he might have been trying to make cheese or something.
No, he made butter. He made garlic
butter.
butter.
All you had to do with the butter was just put it in the churn, and
it's the same thing because the
they
churn
had-
gonna mix
they
it
had
and
a-
it's gonna
they had a
draw
thing
that fat out, right?
A plunger
It's the
that
same
went up
thing.
and down in the churn, and You do that for about 30, 40 minutes. And
That's
that
exactly what the KitchenAid
sweet
mixer
milk
did.
turned into buttermilk, and
Uh-huh.
then you took a skimmer and
Butter.
you took the butter off the top.
That's exactly what he
You
did.
put it in a mold and mold it in whatever shape you
That's
want.
exactly what the guy did. And you could do it with a KitchenAid mixer. You do it with
Sure.
heavy whipping cream.
You don't need
I
no
believe.
whipping cream.
I'm just telling you what the man
Oh,
used.
he
It
made
might be buttermilk for all I know. I don't know, but it
Well,
just
buttermilk-
went to. Go
Buttermilk
ahead.
comes from the sweet milk. Once you
What's
take the
sweet
butter
milk?
off of it.
What's sweet milk? You talking that milk in a can?
White milk.
Who?
What the white
When
milk?
it comes
Whole-
straight from the cow.
That's not sweet, is it?
That's what we used to
That's
call
what
it.
I'm telling you.
Oh.
When you get it straight from the cow, that's called sweet milk. And then you churn it, and it becomes buttermilk. You skim the butter off of it, and you still have your buttermilk.
Child, they heard you snoring, child.
I'm sleeping. Shit.
They sit the milk out on. They said, Davita said they sit the milk out on the porch.
Sometimes they did.
Said who sitting the milk on the porch? The milkman?
No.
I didn't
Sometimes
notice.
in the city, the milkman come around, he would sit the milk on the porch. But most time in the country where people had their cows and what have you, then they would leave the milk in the churn in the kitchen. Once they bought the milk in, they usually milked it in 2-gallon buckets.
What's the churn? Did it have electricity? Like, did you have a
No,
plug?
everything.
So who
was done.
churned it?
The kids did it. That was a chore for the kids.
Oh,
It wasn't a job, it was a chore. There was a difference in work and chores.
And what's the difference between chore and work?
The difference in chores and work,
Mhm.
everybody did chores. All
Mhm.
the kids did that around the house. The cleaning up, the washing the dishes, the churning the milk, milking the cows, and feeding the pigs, and all that stuff were chores.
Getting the eggs and stuff.
That was chores.
Cleaning out the stall.
Going to the field was the work.
And then when you got in from the field, you had to work again. I mean, you had to do
You had
chores
to do
again.
your chores. You went to school. When you come in from school, you had to do the chores.
Mhm.
That was done in the morning. You had chores for the morning and chores in the evening. The problem with our kids today, they don't have anything to do. They're bored. You give them some chores to do. Give them some work to do.
I'm gonna start doing that with Kate. I remember when we was growing up, you had us washing baseboards. I'm gonna start making him wash baseboards.
If you don't have anything to do,
Because he'll
you're not going to
And he gotta
develop
learn.
any work
That's
ethics.
true.
Children
That's true.
develop work ethics when they're young.
Mm-hmm.
You can't develop work ethics when you get to be 20 years old.
It's too late then.
Too late.
Mhm.
And this is the reason why that young people, a lot of them can't keep jobs because they don't have no work
Mhm.
ethics.
That's true.
They can't get to work on time. Then when they get to work on time, they don't want to work. They want to be on break.
And I think that probably play a part in when you're young. You have a specific bedtime. You have a time to wake up. I can remember when we were young. I don't care what day of the week it was. You weren't about to sleep in no bed, not even on the weekend. You had us getting up, doing our chores, and then once our chores was done, then we could probably watch cartoon on Saturday.
That's right.
It wasn't no laying in no bed. You're going to get up.
And another problem that
What's
we
that?
have, this is at an all-time high, is that too many mamas raising children by themselves.
Yeah, that's true. Single parents.
God intended for both male and female to raise a child because it takes two to get a child. And he intends for both to raise it. And usually when a child comes out of a stable home where there's both male and female, and they grew up in a stable home, then the child's most likely going to be okay.
You know, a woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. She can't.
And a man can't teach a girl how to be a woman.
That's
It
right.
takes both.
It takes both of them.
And a boy
That's true.
needs the love of a mother. A girl needs the love of a father. This is going to, when the father has a proper love for his daughter, this is going to help his daughter understand you don't go out there and lay down with everybody that talks sweet to you.
Someone has a question. Davita Hurst said, ask your dad, does he remember the powdered eggs?
Yes, powdered eggs were originally created for the military.
That's so right.
But
So right.
powdered eggs come about in what they used to call the commodities, which started in the late 50s with people who had started off with people who had left the farms and come to the city living in the projects. And they didn't have jobs, didn't have a lot of money. And back then, if you was on welfare, you wasn't getting but just a few dollars a month. And so they come up with what is called commodities.
Oh, that's like the cheese and the eggs and all that.
Cheese, eggs.
Wow.
They had not only powdered egg, but powdered milk as
Powdered
well.
milk. Wow. You know, I was talking to Jazz, and we was talking about it's good you said projects, and we was talking about how the government has been running like trials and stuff for years on Black people just along the project. The project is a project.
Well,
No, it's not on.
most people don't understand what's going
Bring my
what
phone,
is
Katie.
on and what is going on.
Your phone.
Bring my phone.
It is a form of continual
Your
slavery.
phone.
The projects are. The women were given houses in the city. The woman and the children could live in the house, but the man
That's
could not
it.
live in the house. And so therefore it was back as it was in slavery, where the man was he was separated from his family. You separate families together
It's
and you
weak.
come up with hoodlums like we have today. You separate the man from the family, and you do that long enough, then you won't have to separate him. He don't want a wife. He don't want to be with a wife. He wants a
Wow.
girlfriend, and he wants a lot of girlfriends.
Wow. And you're right, because in slavery, when they would separate the man from his family, that weakened them.
That weakened the family. And most Black people don't understand that when your ancestors came to this country, they didn't come here as weak people. They came here as a strong people. They were strong family people that were taken prisoner in Africa. And the first thing they did was to separate that man from the woman. That's a form of control.
And matter of fact, the slave master didn't want the man to be there. They didn't. They'll put him on a whole nother slave plantation.
Well, the slave master.
Tell me, because I know you know.
The slave master owned the slaves. They were property of his, to use them any way he wanted to. And the way he wanted them, now certainly he wanted to make money off the slaves, because that's one of the reasons why they brought them over here, to make money, to use them. But he also wanted the slave woman to be his concubine.
Yeah.
Why do you think all these different colored Black children over here now? It was the reason why they could get away with it. The Black man was not considered human.
Shh.
He was only 2/3 human.
Right. They considered what Black people in
He's
general.
just a high form of animal. That's all he did.
They were
So
property. They were property.
that's the reason why they could beat them, they could kill them, or whatever they wanted to do, and nothing was done about it. It infuriates me to think about the past, but I can't live in the past, because I can't blame someone today for what their ancestors did. We have to blame people for their own behavior.
So let's talk about your family. And back then, oh, Davita said back then we had outhouses. Y'all had outhouses.
That's right. Had outhouses.
Explain to people what that is, because a lot of people don't know what that is.
You had no bathrooms in your house. They had a little building outside, a hole dug in the ground, and that's where you went to use the bathroom.
Let me ask you something.
No.
I'm gonna stop you right here. You said you had a hole in the ground. Who cleaned out the hole?
Wasn't cleaned out.
Would y'all set it on fire?
No, the hole was just eventually when it was full, it was covered up, and they dug another one.
So you moved the outhouse to another spot.
That's
Ooh,
right.
that thing gotta be stinking. Cause what did you put lye in it, or what did you put in it?
They would put lime in it from time to time.
Lime. Okay.
But
Ooh, it's stinking, wasn't it? Was it stinking?
you had no choice.
Well, you know
It's
no
either
better.
the outhouse or no house. So what would you prefer?
Even when it was real cold outside, you have to go out there.
You sure couldn't go inside the house because there wasn't no place in the house to go. You didn't have no running bathroom, no bathroom with running water.
You didn't have running water in your home.
No.
Wow.
Nobody did at that particular time. It didn't matter whether you were white,
Mama,
black.
I thought Mama said she had running water.
Well, your mama lived in the city. She was city slicker.
Let's see. Wait a minute. I hate outhouses.
And they had some outhouses too.
You did, Mama? You used bathroom in the outhouse?
It was only when she got a little
Child.
older that her daddy was able to put in a bathroom.
With running water.
Mm-hmm.
In the entire world. So you was gonna I cut you off. You was talking about outhouses and what it was. You can go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
outhouses. And you did not have Charmin or Bounty.
What you use?
They used Sears and Roebuck catalogs. They used newspapers.
Oh my goodness!
I'm
That's
telling you, listen what I'm telling you. They used corn cobs and things of that nature.
corn cobs. What are you talking about? Corn, the shuck?
No, not the shuck, the cob itself.
What do you mean the cob? What you done chewed up?
No.
Talking about?
They would shell the corn off the cob, and the cob itself would use.
You talking about the ear of corn?
The ear of corn, the
To
cob,
wipe your behind?
after the kernels had been shelled from the cob.
Oh my God! You wipe your behind with that?
You had to use what you had.
Did you
I'm trying to
clean
tell
it?
you,
Like, did you wash it to make sure it was clean?
wash it with water.
I'm
Didn't have
talking
no
about
running
so you
water.
was
There wasn't no water
Oh
out in the
my
bathroom
Lord.
like that.
Oh Jesus!
I'm trying to tell you where it was. It was not that easy. People have it too easy today compared to where it used to be. And I don't care whether you were white, black, or polka dot. Everybody was in the same pot.
Wow. Now I didn't know that. Someone says they were a little girl. Then at night we had to Then at night we would have the white pot with lid. What
Yeah,
was
I know.
that?
That was pot. And
To use the bathroom?
yeah, the girls usually use that at night. And
Mama in there talking.
and
How
the
big
boys
was the
still
pot?
had to go outside.
How big was the pot?
Oh, it's hold about a gallon and a half, I guess.
Wow. Y'all,
And-
I
and
did
if-
not know
And if
this.
you pooped in the pot and put the lid on it, it still smelled.
Mm. I never knew this. Davita, they call it a chamber. That's what y'all.
Some people call it that. Those sophisticated people.
They call it
a
the
chamber.
chamber. Oh, Miss Davita must be sophisticated.
No, she just been doing some studying.
She's older.
Oh, she's older.
Uh-huh. Corn on the cob. Oh wow, now that's deep, man. That's real deep. Oh wow. Oh, it will get on your hands. Will it get on your hands? I don't know how. Even in the military, even when I had to go out to like dig a hole, that was better than. Oh, I remember when I was in the Army and I spent 30 days at Fort Polk, and I had to use that porta potty. And a lot of times I would be constipated because I couldn't use it. The smell was so bad. And that's a porta potty. I couldn't use it.
Well, most people's bathroom outside did not smell that bad. They had a way of using the lime, which killed the smell. It wasn't that bad.
Miss DeVita said, "This is exactly how I was raised. I'm 62 years old. I remember all of this." Someone else said, "My dad used to say, there will always be a war." You always say that too, don't you? always gonna be fighting. Someone said when I came down to visit my grandma, we had the white pot at night too. Wow, I've never heard of that. Oh wow, I never heard of that. Someone else said things that I think are problems. My dad, who grew up in the segregated South, told me that I don't know problems.
Her dad told her right.
Wow.
You don't know what problems are. See, people now got it convenient. You got cars to ride. You get hungry, you can stop at McDonald's, Burger King, you can go into a restaurant or wherever. Back then, if you were black, you had no place to go to eat. If you got hungry, you just had to stay hungry until you got home. And if you thought that it was going to be all right, you could go in there. All you was going to do was get beat up and put in jail if you wasn't killed.
Daddy, talk about that time when you was in the military and your mom saved you. Some you had said you had came home. Katie, you can't play that in here. You have to go in there with Nana or go somewhere else. Someone said something to you. You had went out or something.
No, I was coming home from the military. It was late at night, still in my uniform, and I got stopped by two policemen. And I had just finished AIT and jump school, and I was coming to visit my parents. And these two policemen, they stopped me. Not a problem being stopped, but when they stopped me, the first thing they did was said the N word and asked me, where's the so-and-so whiskey? And they cursed. And I told them I do not drink and I don't have any whiskey. And they proceeded to say that we'll blow your so-and-so head off. You nigger, you know you got it. And I told them again, I do not have it. So they made me get out of the car. They proceeded to take my back seat out of the car. They tore up my car. Everything I had in my trunk, they took it out and threw it on the ground. It infuriated me so much until I felt like I just needed to shoot them, kill me somebody. And so when they left, I had to find my belongings in the dark, and that made me even angrier. And I was one angry black man. And when I got home, my first thing was I wanted to know where the gun was so I could go take care of some business. My mother pleaded with me not to do it. And that was one of the best decisions that I ever made. I'm thankful now that my mother loved me enough to plead with me not to do what I had in mind to do.
I didn't know about that story. I was talking about the other one where you had came home and someone had said something to you. You had went out. I don't know if you went out with your brothers or something.
Oh.
That's the one I'm talking about.
We used to have what they call joints. They went to
the juke joints.
And I went to a juke joint. I went in there to get a hamburger and an RC cola. Most people don't know about RC cola back then, but that was the going thing. Everybody wanted a hamburger and an RC cola. And that's what I wanted. I went in there for that purpose. And this one guy that I knew that was about 6'7", 6'8", real skinny, and he started bothering me. And he was going to pick a fight with me. At that time, I did have my military uniform on.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna cut you off because when I was in the military, you cannot wear your military uniform in different civilian establishments, especially something like a juke joint. You would have to take it off.
It never told me to take my military uniform
so you
off
could wear it anywhere back then.
I did. Nobody told me not to wear it. So I wore it. And not only did I do it, but all soldiers did the same thing. Getting back to the story, he just kept persisting on bothering me, and he was going to fight me. And I'm a pretty good sized fella, and I was pretty strong back then. So when he acted like he wanted to do something to me, I just grabbed him and picked him up and bumped his head against the ceiling. 2 or 3 times and dropped him down, and I kicked him when they fell on the ground.
Oh,
I kicked him a few times with my boots, and he went to pleading, hollering, don't kill me." I did not have in mind of killing him. I just want to whoop him real good because he bothered me. And that was an incident that I got out of. Wasn't a major thing, but a lot of people went through stuff like that. It wasn't just me.
Do you remember how old were you during Martin Luther King time?
In my well,
Were you a little bitty boy?
no,
or
no,
well, no.
no.
You
I was
couldn't
in
have
my
been.
20s. Let's see, I was in my 20s.
And where were you, in Alabama then? Or you was in the military?
Well, when the Civil Rights Act was passed, I was in Augusta, Georgia. And when he was killed in '68, I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, you had just married mama. Oh. Someone said complaining is a sin. Oh my God, I need to stop. That's what she said. That's what little mommy said. Complaining is a sin. King died in '68. That's what somebody said. Scorpio there in North Carolina. Talk about your who was that, your great uncle? Was that your great uncle that cut himself down from City Hall?
No.
That was your great grand. I get this
That was
story
my
confused,
grandfather's
y'all.
brother. My grandfather was born under slavery, and his brother was born under slavery. And during the Civil War, he was accused of helping the North. And back then they had what.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Because they called them what, sandbaggers? Or was hold on. Go ahead.
I don't know what to call him, but he was accused of conspiring with the North by the Home Guard. The Home Guard was the local guards in that area. And they decided, since he was black, they were going to hang him. And they did. And when they hung him, as usual, they just rode off on their horses. And the rope was rotten and it broke. And so he got out of that one, lived to tell the story. And then I was told about the second time that he was hung. He was hung twice. And he was a smaller man, and he wore big overalls, and he always kept a knife in his hip pocket. When they hung him the second time, they rode off, and he got his fished around and got his knife out of his hip pocket and cut himself down before he lost consciousness. And then after the Civil War, and this was a comical thing, after the Civil War, the carpetbaggers was coming.
Carpetbaggers, that's what they call them.
All the
Mom, don't bring him in here
land.
crying. Don't come in here crying. You stop that. You zip it up now. Pull your get over there and sit with your pawpaw.
The carpetbaggers come to take all the people's land.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was people from the North coming back.
Right.
They were stealing.
And my grandfather and him, along with their other brother, there was 3 of them. They were half black and half white. So they had white cousins. So him and one of his white cousins, which was a McCaleb, went down to the courthouse, and they come up with the idea that if they burnt the courthouse down and burn up the records, then nobody would lose their land. And that's true. If you didn't have a record of it, then nobody could take it. And they set the courthouse afire. One of them hit the gun on the people, and the other ones lit the fire and burned it. And they burnt half the city down almost as a result of that.
What the world?
Yeah.
I didn't know. So they pretty much held them hostage. The people that worked at the courthouse or something. They held them hostage. Really? And I didn't know this.
And nobody lost their property there. and nothing was done about it.
Wow.
They went back home, and nothing was done about it. Uh, they were pretty tough people back then.
But I remember you saying, wasn't that the one that um built his own coffin and his bed was over it and he slept on top of his
Yeah.
coffin?
Yeah. After he was home those times, and he said that he was living off a borrowed time, and he thanked the master. That's what he called God, the old master.
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 Master?
Master, not monster, but master.
Like master?
Same thing. That's what they call master. Master.
Oh, so he was talking like the slave master.
No, he's talking about God in this case. Now,
Oh.
that's what they call a slave master too, old master. But now,
Huh.
that was a term that was used for God too, because
I
God was
never
in
knew that.
control. Now, he said that he was living off a borrowed time, and he decided he would build his own coffin. He built it out of cedar, and he lined it with velvet, and he slept over the top of it for 30 years before he passed away.
So was he buried in that coffin?
He was buried in his own
Oh,
coffin,
my
one that
Lord.
he built himself. And
Oh my Lord.
if you don't believe what I'm referring to, there was a book done of the county in which he lived in.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the book is now in the library in Fayette, Alabama. The book or history of Fayette County, Alabama.
Wow. So those three brothers, they're the one who owned a lot of property down there, and they had like the sawmill. Didn't they have a whole business?
Well, that wasn't the three that owned that.
It wasn't him?
Now, Si was a big farmer. That was a brother name that was home twice.
And their daddy was a slave master.
Their daddy was a slave master, which give them some privileges that other black people did not have, which enabled them to get a large portion of land that others couldn't get.
That was your great grandfather. No, that was your grandfather.
My grandfather. My great grandfather was a slave master. Great.
Y'all see how close the Caucasians are to your family? Really close. Go ahead, Daddy.
What was that?
About you was talking. I asked you a question about were those the brothers that owned?
No, that was not the brothers that owned the sawmill. Now there was three of them. There was Gundy, Si, and Babe, and all three of them were different in their own ways. Si was a large farmer. He had over 2,000 acres of land himself. Babe that was my grandfather. He was a school teacher and a preacher.
Really?
Yeah, he had.
He was smart.
He was given a license at that time. The state had to give you a license to teach.
He was teaching. Where was he teaching?
Where?
Or what did he teach? That was in the. Let's see. You was born in the 40s, so that had to be what, the 20s?
Probably in the 1800s.
Wow.
But he had a 6th grade education himself.
Well, what was he teaching?
Teaching in a school, public school.
Wow.
I have a copy of his teaching license here someplace.
I never knew that.
And Gundy was a farmer and a bootlegger. he made booze, but now he was a good person, and he had a good piece of land.
Don't answer the phone. Hang that phone up. Hang up.
Him and Babe had about 250 or 300 acres of land each, and both were farmers.
Who was that?
Danielle.
Michelle.
Both was farmers, and both had a side occupation to that. Gundy all three of those brothers had large families. Cy had 10 or 12 kids. EB had about 9 kids. My grandfather had about 9 kids. And then Gundy also had about 9 or 10 kids.
So why would the white man allow the black man to have that much land and the ability to for them like
That was his sons.
oh it was his sons. So they were kind of like protected to a sense.
You heard me say that they had some privileges that other blacks did not have because they were the slave master's children by the field hand. Their mother's name was Polly. She was a field hand. She worked in the field all the time.
Wow. Y'all, that's deep. Oh, that's Danielle. Now she's saying, hey, everyone. Someone said, ask your dad, was he a Mason?
No. Can't serve but one master.
Yeah, that's my sister. I thought you was on your way down here, Danielle. It's 4:13. They said, wow. So, does anybody have any questions for my dad? If y'all have any questions, post your questions in the chat. Trust me, he's a wealth of knowledge. Next week, we'll talk about something else. Whatever y'all want to talk about, just let me know. Does anyone have any questions? Rat Mitt say amen. Davita, I got that. You driving, Daniel? Well, then you need to get off the off YouTube. You got them babies in the car. So, did any of our family, like you was talking about the brothers, did they ever migrate to the north, or they just pretty much stayed in the south? Well, they really didn't have to because they had privileges.
They
So they're not. Wait a minute.
They didn't migrate to the north.
I got a question. I'm about to cut you off. You said Polly was a slave, right?
Right.
So she never had her freedom papers. She died a slave.
She died a slave.
So what those children? So how did your grandfather have the privileges they had? Because when the mother was a slave, those children were slaves too.
They had the privilege because their daddy owned them.
I know their daddy owned them.
So the daddy gave them the privilege.
So he was a pretty decent. Well, I ain't gonna say decent man, because you see like these movies depicted of slave children, like they treated them bad too.
Well, the movies are not always true to whatever situation was. All slave masters was not bad people. Some of them were decent people. Some of them treated their slave decently. That was just a way of life. They thought that they were in the right. Now, all of us have thought some things and found out later on that we were wrong.
You know why? Because now I don't know how true this is. I learned this in history when I took history of the South. How the slave masters thought they were doing what God wanted them to do because the Bible talks about slaves. And so that's how they would keep their slaves under control through religion.
Well, slavery has been a practice down through time. You can go back and see as far back as Abraham that people had slaves. They were caught in war and forced to become slaves. That wasn't right, but that was reality. Anytime you have men and they have free will, everybody's not going to do the right thing. And just like we were talking about earlier about the politicians, money and power governs everything, even in slavery. Mm-hmm. We have who you think sold the slaves over in Africa? It was black people who were looking for more money and power, sold them to the white man. So we are partially responsible for it ourselves. When I say we, I'm talking about black people. Uh, if we had not sold our folks, we wouldn't be over here.
You know what? Something just came, just came to me. The scripture, "Don't be a slave to the lender." And I was just thinking in my head before that came to my head. We're in slavery now. Like, I ain't talking about you because you're debt free, but people that are in debt, and a lot of black people are in debt. They
Why?
don't have because they're a slave to the lender.
But why are they in debt?
Because
We want too much.
I was just about to say, because the lust of the eye,
And
the pride of life.
what you're referring to is Proverbs 23 and verses 7. And in that text, it says that the borrower shall become slave to the lender.
Right, the bar should. Right. That's
And,
right.
You know, many of the Caucasian people have made a lot of money off of holding seminars how to teach people how to get out of debt, how to prevent you from coming slave. I forget the man's name. That
David Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey from Nashville, Tennessee.
He was from Nashville?
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah.
That's
Nashville.
not okay. That's not the dad. That's not the guy that wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's that guy. I believe was from Hawaii, if I'm not
I don't know
mistaken.
about the Rich
I didn't know he was from
But I know about
Nashville.
Dave Ramsey because I started listening to him 30-something years ago. And that's when I decided that I want to get out of debt.
Someone said we are in debt because people are not content with what they have and live by comparison.
Very good statement. Very good statement. But I take it even a step further than that. We want too much.
Someone said, ask your dad, what does he know about the AME Zion Church? Ooh, you talking to the right. AME Zion Church.
AME Zion or
Zion.
AME, that's the American Methodist Church.
So they must have AME. They said, what do you know about it?
Know quite a bit about that.
Well, talk about it. Let's talk about it. I got about a good 30 minutes.
The AME Church started, like a lot of churches started, during slavery. They used to meet with the slave master for worship service and whatever religion that the slave master had. That's what he forced his slaves to do. So they usually had upstairs in the upper chamber, what we call now the balcony. They had a little balcony up there, and that's where their slaves worshiped at. But when slavery was over, they started their own movement. And the AME is a.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, I forget now all
AME
background.
In 1796, due to the frequent acts of discrimination and segregation in white Methodist churches, many black parishioners left to form separate ministries. This exodus led to the creation of the AME Zion denomination, which started as an informal meeting of the multi-black founded churches from various cities. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That was a great question, Davida.
Yeah.
Great question.
And you know, the Methodist Church, their preachers, they used to educate their preachers quite well. They had some of the first, what I would consider highly educated preachers among black people.
That was a great question. Oh, here we go. Ask him, do he know the Apostles' Creed? Y'all don't know who y'all talking to right now. Y'all gonna learn.
I don't know the Apostles' Creed word for word, but I know the meaning of it.
Talk about
it. It talks about the Virgin Mary and how they owe allegiance to Mary. Only thing Mary did, and the only thing we need to thank her for, she was the mother of Jesus. But now, there was nothing holy about her life. She went on after the birth of Jesus. Her and Joseph had other children. I know they had at least 6 other children because the Bible speaks of him having 4 brothers and sisters. So,
yeah.
and so there's nothing holy about her. And if it was just Christ's birth, then there would be nothing significant about him either. But it was more that we celebrate his death, his burial, and his resurrection.
Wow.
We do that because he died in order that men might be saved. We celebrate his death, his burial, and resurrection on the first day of the week. The Bible teaches that on the first day of the week, in Acts 20:7, on the first day of the week, the disciples came together to break bread. And so it was the first day of the week. The biblical church started on the first day of the week. You count 50 days from Pentecost and add 3 more days, which are days from his burial, his death, burial, and resurrection, and you come up with 53 days, and that's Pentecost. 53 days after from the time he was crucified is what we call Pentecost. The word Pentecost has reference to 50. And of course, that's when the first church had its beginning. The first Pentecost after his death. Acts 2 will substantiate that. Okay, I don't know what more you want on that.
Okay, let me see. Danielle, Columbus, Georgia. We are a sports society. Okay, but never go back. Hey, Gail Jones. She said, "Hello, Kimmy, Dad in chat." That doggone Davita, I love that question that she asked. I just learned something today. I learned a lot of stuff today. I don't know about y'all, but I ran to visit Virginia on the Greyhound. Somebody, Scorpio Mama said that her family, I remember reading it. She said, my adopted mom was a church witch. Uh-oh. So my dad actually, so a moderator in my chat, she was adopted and she had a terrible horror story with her adopted mother, and she's in the process of writing a book about
I'm sorry she had a horror story, but all people are not good. And everybody don't need children.
it. They said all of Scorpio Mama said my ancestors were drunks that would cut people. They said all of us were crazy. Oh my goodness. We have one grocery store and roses. Let's see. Oh, Davita said, you're right about that. There only one master, but where'd it go? You're right about that, Dad. That only one master, but I learned that later on in life. I was raised up around Masons and Eastern Stars. Okay. Does anybody have any more questions, y'all? So I'm gonna give y'all some Kimmy. I was raised in the AME Zion. Your dad speaking truth. I'm gonna tell y'all like dad. Davita said her grandma was mean as a snake. My dad taught. Daddy, you can tell him you taught at you was a professor at a college. Tell me about that. You was the first black
In the, what was it? In
Casiasco?
70 in Kosciuszko, Mississippi. That was about 30. That was about 30 miles from Philadelphia, Mississippi. And when I went there, it was about 4 years after before civil rights workers was
Did
killed.
you say around that area? I remember you saying something like around that area. There was KKK or it was a big headquarters. Something you were telling me.
Well, I ran into the KKK a lot of times in my traveling across the state of Mississippi.
would you say Mississippi is like worse than Alabama during that time period?
No, I'd say that Alabama, Mississippi,
About the same.
Georgia,
Mm.
Arkansas, and Louisiana, all of them were about the same.
Mm.
All of them were about the same. There was not a whole lot of difference. You wasn't treated a lot different until you went north and past the Mason-Dixie line.
Okay. Let's see.
And people's civil rights are still being violated.
Huh?
People's civil
Now?
rights are still being violated in various places. Unfortunately, I hate to say what I'm about to say here, but our previous president had brought the worst out of people, both white and black, in this country. And the hatriotism between the two races have began to grow, and it should not grow. I mean, God teaches war to love folks, and no matter the complexion of a person's skin, we can't help what color you are. You can't help what color you are. You can't take it off. It's not like a garment. You can take it off and change it. You got to live with it for the rest of your life. And we have to live among people for the rest of our life. So I would rather see people get rid of the animosity that they have toward races, learn how to love one another. And I don't mean what some people call love. Love is a behavior. That means I'm going to start acting correctly with you and around you. I'd like to see that among all races. If we could get that one thing down, then we could eliminate most of the crime that we have in our country.
You know what? You talking about racism. You know, when Caden first went to school, he didn't know the color between black and white. I never taught him black and white. And just the other day, he said, Mama, he was talking about his little friend named Fielder. He said, he's white, Mama. I said, how do you know that? He said, his skin is white. I said, who told you that? He said, I just know his skin is white. So obviously somebody been talking about it in front of him. I don't know if it's the school or what it is, but he never knew until just recently. He never, because Kaden always said he was brown. He never said he was black.
Well, children don't come up with this on their own.
Mm-mm.
Racism is a taught culture,
Mm-hmm.
and it's taught among both races. It's taught among whites and it's taught among blacks. And it's also taught among other races that come here from other places.
You know what? Like sometimes when I go pick him up, and I have 2 hours to sit there and watch all the kids, but you can tell when the kids play. Like you'll see a little black kid over here, and you see all the white kids playing together, and I'm like, how do they learn that? And they're so young, and they already segregate themselves.
They got taught this. Somebody's doing some teaching at home or at church, on the playground, or somewhere. Racism is a learned behavior.
Mm.
You don't come here hating folks. You don't come here having problem with people of different color.
You know what? You don't, because on Caden's soccer team, the coach is a white guy, and they adopted a black little boy. And that little boy, like the mother, she don't see any type of color. She treat him just like she treat her own kids. And it's so amazing to watch the little boy, because it's like he don't even know. He don't even know. I'm sure he knows, but he doesn't know. Like the mother was telling me that her son could not believe he was adopted. He couldn't believe, he thought the mama had him because he was so young when they got him. They had got him when he was, I think, maybe a day old. So he pretty much like I told her, like, that's your baby.
To her, that's her son.
That's her baby.
And she will fight for him
She
just
will.
as hard as she would the one that she had biologically.
You'll see her tonight if you go to Caden's soccer game. She hollers for him because he plays on the soccer team with Caden. She hollers for him like that's her own child. And that warms my heart because I see how she treats her other kids, because I sit back and watch. And she treats them all the same. All the same.
Right.
Actually, she probably showed more favoritism towards her. It's like she showed him way more love. So that's the first adoptive child that I've seen that has grown up with that much love like that. They
Well,
love that little boy.
A good parent is not going to love each child equally. Not going to treat them equally. What they're going to do, they're going to treat them adequately based upon the individual child's needs. Every child don't have the same needs.
Mm-mm.
And this obviously, this little boy needs more.
He
And
does.
she's going to give him more.
It's so
If
funny.
you love a child, you're going to give them what they
That's
need.
true. That's true. You are absolutely right. Y'all, we got to cut this off because Kaden has a soccer game. So, yes, they were. Let's see. Yes, they were.
I
Back
got
when
a
I
peek in
get
the game.
whoopings for no reason. Oh, I ain't getting no whoopings for no reason. I got a whooping for a reason. Y'all, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. Thank you all for being on live for an hour and 20 minutes. I appreciate it. Thanks for having my dad. Thanks, because I know y'all been talking about it. Y'all, I tried to get him to go downstairs to the area where the lighting was better. But look, he comfortable, so that's fine with me. Scorpio mama said she got whooped every day. I probably did too. For my mouth. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. And we'll be going live at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. It'll be Caden soccer game. So if y'all want to support Caden and just watch him play soccer, feel free. And this time, I promise I'll be quiet. I won't be yelling on the sidelines. Y'all have a great day. Daddy, tell them bye. Oh,
Goodbye, all. See you next time.
she said she don't get notifications.
Next channel,
I don't get
next day.
notifications like I'm supposed to. Gail, I have your email. I'll send you a message when I'm about to go live, okay? All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Thanks for tuning in.